living in a very difficult situation and also a world that is changing so much. We are just like the blind man Bartimaeus, looking for direction, looking for hope. Jesus telling Bartimaeus, get up, courage. These are very important words, especially for those who are now in depression, those who are going through difficult times, those who feel like giving up. We must say to them, courage, get out. Bartimaeus was a man that Jesus reached out to. He was on the roadside, and yet the Lord paid attention to him. He was not just left aside because there was a great crowd following Jesus. He was at the side of the road, marginalized. He was burdened with pain. He was burdened with his sins. And so Jesus called him. It is very significant that when the Lord called him, the Lord spoke to the blind man, what do you want me to do for you? What did the blind man ask? We would think that the blind beggar would be asking for money because he had no income. Instead, he said to Jesus, Master, let me see again. He was physically blind, but spiritually he was not. In fact, he was the one who recognized Jesus, Son of David, a messianic term that he used. Whereas those following Jesus to Jerusalem, they were ignorant about what was the real identity of Jesus. We are called to imitate the faith of this blind beggar. Jesus said to the blind beggar, go, your faith has saved you. Faith is the most important dimension in dealing with the struggles of life. That is why during this time of the pandemic, when we are down and we are out, instead of looking into the world for alcohol or for other things, it is when we are stripped of all that we have, just like the blind man who threw off his cloak, the only security that he had. Not only he was a man of faith, courageous. He shouted the louder even though he was being silenced by others. Keep quiet, they said. And that is what is happening today. When we want to announce Jesus, when we want to share the good news, the world is telling us, be quiet. Don't talk about Jesus in public. You can talk among your friends in your homes. And many of us are silenced. We are afraid. We keep quiet, so obedient to the word, keep quiet. But my dear friends, for many people, especially during time of pandemic, all the more they need God. All the more they need to know that God is with them. All the more they need to see their suffering, their pain, their struggles from the perspective of the eyes of God, from the perspective of faith. That is why we need to turn to the Lord. Instead of drowning ourselves and being overwhelmed by our pains, by our struggles, do we actually pay attention to the Lord? The blind beggar, instead of wallowing in his blindness, he was attentive. He could not see. He was alert. He was listening to Jesus. That is why, my dear brothers and sisters, during this time of suffering, loneliness, alienation, then we need to turn to the Lord in prayer. Ask the Lord for direction. Ask the Lord to help us to put on the new pair of eyes to understand things that are happening and how all these things fit into the divine plan of God. What is God's message to the world during this time of pandemic? Certainly nothing happens by chance. What is God telling the world? What is God telling each individual? My dear brothers and sisters, we are called today to witness to our faith, to inspire others, to encourage others. The best way to witness to others is that we ourselves must have an inspiring faith. Then when others look at us, they say there is hope. So do not fear, my dear brothers and sisters, do not fear the world, even though they try to silence us. If you have seen Jesus, then like the blind man, when his sight returned, he followed him along the road. And where is this road? Jerusalem, the place of his passion and his glory. When we have seen the Lord, we will be ready to undertake the risk of following Jesus, be his disciples, and take up our cross and follow after him.